Hey, it's Allie. I'm so glad that you downloaded this video because it is one of the topics that I'm asked to speak about the most as a coach and a consultant to organizations. And what I've tried to do was find the top things that I think can help you as women get promoted. So let's talk about what kind of feedback is this. That's the first thing when it comes to feedback, because when we get feedback, we get like, whoa, what's happening? Am I getting fired? Do I still belong? Do I fit in? Am I getting, a promotion? Am I not getting a promotion? When we know we're about to have a feedback conversation, all kinds of stuff comes up for us. And sometimes we don't know we're about to have one at all, and they just lay it on us. So there are really three kinds of feedback that we experience at work, and I want to talk about each one of those in turn. The first one is appreciation feedback. It's really important. I don't know if you get it at work or not. If you don't, you need to ask for it and you need to role model doing it for others. So just like, thank you for your hard work. That's really important. Not only that, but also what we need is feedback that is clear and specific when it comes to praise. Remember, I often say that we grow more where we're already strong. So if we're going to really help people grow, we'll say, this was really great when you did this, and this is what worked for me, and this is why it mattered for our business or our team or our client or our customer. And we want that clear and specific praise. We actually need it in a ratio of 5-1. I usually talk about it like a goodwill bank, like lots of goodwill in the bank about all of the praise and appreciation. So I know that when you come to me with something constructive, a place where maybe the results weren't what you wanted, that you respect me, you believe in me, you've demonstrated a commitment to me, and I've demonstrated a commitment to you. We have trust and safety to have a more difficult conversation about what might not be going as well, which I'll come on to later. So getting the appreciation and the recognition that you want, by the way, because we all want different kinds of recognition. Some of us love public, big recognition. Some of us feel, just tell me quietly alone. So being clear with the people who do give you this kind of feedback, what you want and when you want it. And as somebody who gives this, to signpost it and give it. Hey, can I give you some feedback? I just want to say thanks and tell you about some great work you did. Because sometimes we're told, hey, can I give you some feedback? We don't know what's coming. A day we're sweating and worrying, and a lot of time, energy, and effort could be saved by us signposting the kind of feedback. So that's the first one, appreciation. Goes a long way. Give it lots, role model it, ask for it if you need it. The second one is evaluation feedback. And by this I mean like a serious, like, where am I going in this company? Where am I going in my career? A lot of times your managers or your supervisors will take the lead on those conversations, and you just do a lot of yes and nodding and then looking for the bad stuff, the constructive stuff. But I want you to take ownership of these evaluation conversations, asking questions like, hey, I just want to work out where I am in my career, and what more do I need to do to make my contribution to this organization matter? What would be the biggest things I could do that would really change things, change the momentum, change the direction, please and delight our clients, our customers, whatever that industry is that you're working in. Ask, how are you measuring my success? What's the next role you see from me? Do we have career ladders around here? Do I know where I'm going? Or if there's nothing else for me around here, which is often the case because we're quite flat, or for different reasons you know that it's not going to be your long-term job, still engaging with your managers and supervisors about how am I doing? How do I get ahead? What does the next job look like in any industry? And what are the things I need to have on my CV for that job so that I can start getting some of those learning assignments now, some of those stretch and growth goals, and getting clear about that. So take ownership of those evaluation conversations that you have. The third one is the feedback that we get most often, which is coaching feedback. And with coaching feedback, I really encourage you to try to bring the grow model to that. And if somebody else is giving you the coaching feedback, for you to try to take that feedback and put it into the grow model. So the grow model is, what's the goal here? So if you're giving the feedback, it's like, hey, let's talk about what you were trying to achieve. What were we going for? And everybody buys into that. Or if you're getting it and somebody somebody says to you, hey, they give you coaching feedback, which sounds more like this, hey, just do it my way. I would say, well, hang on a minute. Let's talk about the goal. What were we trying to achieve? Now let's share all the realities. We were resource constrained, we were time constrained, we were lacking in data, we had bad data, we were waiting on another piece, whatever it is. You've got to talk about all the realities that were true, not as a way of justifying or blaming or shaming or any of that, but by saying we're here to talk about some outcomes and we need to know what all the realities were going into that. So all those realities happen. I chose this option that had this impact, this result. Maybe what we want to talk about are what were some other options? What else might we try? How do we retro this and look at it differently given that reality, that goal? Maybe our goal needs to change, but what are some options and what will you do? So that's coaching style feedback. That should be happening all the time in your organization. And again, you want to really signpost that's the kind of conversation we're having. I want to give you some feedback about a piece of work and how it turned out and what you tried and how else we could do this. Or I want to give you some feedback about where you are in your career, where you're headed, when can we have time for that? Or I want to give you some feedback about thanking you and telling you what really worked for me. And if somebody says, I just want to give you some feedback, ask which one it is and try to ensure that your coaching feedback follows a model like this, that your evaluation feedback is clearly linked to the business and your learning agenda and your career strategy, or that the praise is clear and specific so you know really what worked well that you did and why it worked so well. Now, remember that I said when I started this by saying, oh, feedback, oh no. Here's what happens with feedback. It triggers our amygdala. That is at the base of your brainstem and your cerebral cortex, and particularly your prefrontal lobe, which is where you do all of your higher functioning and all of your reasoning and all of your logic, gets like totally hijacked by the amygdala. So when you're getting bad feedback or constructive feedback, you move into fight, flight, freeze, old lizard brain stuff. We are evolutionarily designed to protect first. And the sad truth is we are constantly scanning the environment to see if we belong and if we're safe, which is why we work so often with teams in building psychological safety. Because once I trust you, once I know that this team is safe for me to grow, learn, try, explore, any feedback you give me is a gift, and I can be in my prefrontal cortex when I get that feedback to take it in, to be curious about it, to ask lots of questions so that I can use that feedback to grow. So know that feedback can be a triggering event for us. By triggering, I mean getting us back into our reptile brains, and we have to calm our limbic system, get back into our higher brains, and go to the models that I talked about what we're doing here, what are we trying to accomplish together. Now, the way that I usually do that is I move from certainty to curiosity. What did you see as I'm getting, oh no, you're giving me some tough feedback. What did you see? Tell me what you're worried about here. What do you recommend? What does success look like to you? Get curious, tie it back to what was our goal? What are the realities? What am I missing? If even 1% of their poorly delivered feedback is useful, great. It's an opportunity for you to grow and to learn. Now, how do we tackle biases in feedback? Because they happen. And biases in feedback look like some effort for people to be more like the person giving you the feedback. So maybe they're saying, you need to smile more, or they're saying you need to speak up more, or they're saying you need to have a different style in your approach. Any feedback that's about your personality or about your style is not about the objective business outcomes. So we need performance management systems and feedback systems that tie the work that you're doing to the task requirements, to the business outcomes, so that when I have a conversation with you, I'm saying, I want to give you some feedback. Here's ultimately what we were trying to achieve with the team, achieve with the product, achieve with the piece of work, achieve with the deal. And here's what happened. not you weren't a team player, you weren't nice enough, you were aggressive, you don't speak loudly enough. Those are all about personality and style. And ultimately, for organizations to thrive, we need to have a diversity learning agenda that embraces lots of different personality styles and leadership styles, but in no way compromises on the tasks that we're trying to accomplish or the business outcomes. So just if you get some feedback that feels like it's a bias at play and it's about your personality, you want to get back to the objective criteria. What were we trying to accomplish as a goal, and what might I try or do to get there? And then finally, don't forget that feedback gets you promoted. In any feedback conversation that you have, it's an opportunity to articulate your learning agenda. What more do you need to get to the next stage in your career? And you should think about those things and know those things as you go into feedback conversations. Secondly, I've already said this, but keep asking how your work's impacting the business, because that's how you make your work visible. You know, oh, you're giving me some feedback. Great. I'd love to know, in that piece of work that I did, what impact did that have on whatever we're measuring? Ask that question, because it also forces the manager, supervisor, client, whoever, to think about your contribution. Oh yeah, actually it did do that. And always ask what worked and why did it work? When people give you good feedback, oh, thanks, that was really well done. Don't just say thank you. Use it as an opportunity to say, I'd love to know more about what worked and why it worked. And my dogs have a lot to say about that too. So that's it for feedback. I hope that you enjoyed this and got a lot out of it. And I look forward to hearing about your feedback conversations. Join us in the Get Promoted course. It's where we talk through all these issues about how you make your work visible, how you articulate a learning agenda, how you have difficult conversations, and how you stay in it for the long term to get ahead. Thanks for joining me.